Hello and welcome to Same Here,
Me Too. This is our podcast.
where we open up the conversation about life and share our experiences. The raw, the real,
Don't forget the embarrassing.
of course, and all the juicy tidbits of our lives.
Telling our stories and what we've learnt as young women in our 20s. Nothing is off limits. Giving you true life unfiltered.
The podcast that makes you realise you're not alone. Hello and welcome back to Same Here.
Me Too.
I'm your host Naomi. I got it right this week.
And I'm your other host, Cora. Hi.
What is up?
How's everyone doing this week?
Welcome back.
Welcome
to the newbies.
Yep, to the
What up?
To the newbies. Oh, right.
To the newbies.
I think meant that we're the newbies. Like, we're veterans at this. This is episode 21. We are veterans. What are we on about? But yes, no, welcome to everyone who's new.
Hi.
Welcome to our veterans. Just welcome. Do you think we could say welcome one more time? I think we could.
Welcome.
Okay, so let's dive straight in.
Sorry, I'm going to bring your attention very quickly to the small dog that is sitting on Cora's lap if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
To those of you listening, go watch it on YouTube this
funny.
week because there is a puppy on Cora's lap. We don't know how long she'll last on the lap, mind you, because
She might
is
fall
trying
asleep, but she
to
might-
get down. There are
Yeah.
cables everywhere and she loves cables.
Yeah,
so.
Anyway,
how you doing,
let's
Cora?
just dive in my weekly check-in.
Yep.
So this week I have been looking after this little puppy. It is my...
Can you hold her up so people can see her?
This is Bun Bun. Hi, Bunny. This is Bunny. For people online, we will send a photo on our Instagram.
You mean
Who Bunny is.
on listening?
Yes, listening
Not
online. The other one.
What is she? It's for people listening so they
She's
can.
a Dachshund puppy.
She's very cute.
She's a Dachshund puppy who's 12 weeks old, but she has been staying with me because her mummy is away on holiday. So she's been staying at my house for the last week, which is... Now, so I love dogs. I do.
She does.
And I'm desperate for one. But
She is.
people have been saying to me, Cora, you're going to be busy, you don't have time for one. So I thought, you know what? Having Bonnie for the week is probably a really good trial run because I might probably be like, oh, God, yeah, it's too much to have a dog right now at my age. I'm doing too much. It's just too much work. Oh, she keeps me up at night. I can't deal with it. No. That didn't go to plan.
No.
No. I want one. Hell. I know I can't.
More so.
More
she
so than
did.
before.
She wanted one before.
Yeah. I mean, I can't. I mean, honestly, like, I know I can't right now. I've got a lot coming on my life, traveling and stuff, and it's not fair. But it's really easy to do that. It's really easy. But yeah. So that's what we have. So this week I've been hectic at work, and I've been looking after a puppy. So it's all okay. But yeah, that's pretty much my week. That's pretty much it. Naomi, how's your week been?
My week's been great. It's been very productive with work. The challenge is going well, which is a good time.
Oh yes. How's that?
Yeah,
Have
it's
you
going
done
well.
every day so far?
Yep.
Well, yay.
Without fail.
Unlike the last one you did, where you
Yes.
missed lots of days.
Yes. Which is hilarious because this challenge is harder in essence because I'm doing 2 workouts a day.
Do you think that because you know it's harder, because you almost failed the last one, it's like, fuck it. Excuse me. I'm going to do it this time. Like, I will get this, do you think? Or is it just...
No, I think it's just different mindset and it's
Okay.
different. Like the tasks aren't super hard. It's just having said, okay, I'm going to do it for 75 days and just making my mind up. I think last time when I decided to do it, I wasn't fully ready and committed to doing it. Whereas with this, I'm like, I'm going to do it. Plus, of course, Sam is doing it with me and he
Did
has...
he do the last one with you as well, though?
Yeah, but he fell off the wagon far quicker than I did. He's currently sitting upstairs, and I'm sure he heard that. I'll probably pay for that later. And what was I saying? Yeah, so he has told me that if I fail this challenge, because I'm going to the Hunter Valley in a week, then he's not giving up. And he was like rubbing it in, and I was like, I'm not going to stop doing the challenge just because I go to the Hunter Valley. He's like, just saying.
It's wine and chocolate.
I'm like, no.
But you're more the cheese. The cheese will get you.
I'm all about cheese. I mean, cheese
Yeah.
is life. So
Cheese
I'm
is
going to be
life.
fine.
You'll be fine.
Which, speaking of cheese, kind of leads us into this week's
Yes,
episode
it
quite
does,
nicely, actually. Cora, introduce our episode this week. I think it's only
Fitting.
only fitting.
So a little while ago, me and Naomi were talking about the new trend coming through with people's what they eat and the dietary they have. So more and more people are becoming vegan, vegetarians, pescatarians, flexitarians. There are many Aryans out there at the moment, like many Aryans. But it's really funny because I've been a vegetarian my entire life. My mother was a vegetarian, so when she cooked for us children, we were vegetarian. We ate food, wet food.
Vegetarian food.
Thank you. So she never
They
just
ate
me.
food.
It's a good thing I won't be here otherwise. But no, so we ate a lot of vegetarian food. But it's really funny because I have been amongst it all. When people find out I'm vegetarian, they talk to me about it from all different angles. So this episode's really kind of touching on how the society has changed and adapted to people who are now vegans and vegetarians, and also what people are expecting. Like, I think a lot of people, when they say, I'm vegetarian, I don't think they understand what that means, and vice versa with a vegan or a pescatarian. So if you say, I'm pescatarian, some people have no idea what that equates to. So they feed you the wrong food, so it can be very awkward sometimes. So we're going to kind of touch on that a little bit. So first of all, in terms of being vegetarian, like I said, I've been a vegetarian my entire life. It's the way I grew up. When I got to a certain age, my mum said, you're an age, you can cook whatever you want, you can eat whatever you want. I was just like, well, I've lived this long as a vegetarian, I don't see the point of eating anything else. But when I tell people I'm vegetarian, they assume certain things. Like, first of all, they go, oh, so do you eat cheese and dairy? I'm like, yes, no, I'm vegetarian, not vegan. They're different things. So I think where people get confused is when people say I'm vegetarian, they automatically think you eat nothing to do with animal products, but actually it's not quite that. And it's the same where people now becoming vegan, they go to the actual extreme. And I think there's a fine line with that. So Naomi, what's your kind of view on vegetarian veganism? Like, what do you feel on it?
Veganism.
It's an ism now.
It is an ism. Look, first of all, I am neither a vegetarian nor a vegan. I just eat food. So I eat animal products as well. But for me, honestly, I don't really mind what people eat. Like, I honestly don't. For me, as long as they're not forcing their beliefs on me or their opinions on me or judging me for what I choose to eat and put inside my body, then I really don't mind. I really don't mind. When I was living over in Europe after I left high school, I ate mostly vegetarian purely because it was easy and I didn't really buy much meat. And that was just the way I lived. So it's not that I eat meat all the time. So also my mum is not a great meat eater. So growing up, we ate a lot of she just trialed a lot of different foods. So we ate a lot of vegetarian food. But because I was never brought up vegetarian, I wasn't brought up vegan. I was just brought up on food. Like, for me,
just food.
Yeah, just I don't have a problem with anybody choosing what food is good for their body, because that's all it comes down to is what food do you want to eat that's going to make you feel good. And also, for those who choose a certain lifestyle that works with their beliefs and their ideologies and all of that. So that's really my take on it all. Is I don't really have a massive opinion about it, as long as you're not going to sit here and berate me for eating animal products. That's mutual respect.
That's the thing. So growing up was actually very difficult. I found being a vegetarian. So I obviously grew up in Australia. So being a vegetarian in Australia was near impossible. There was nothing really for vegetarians besides in terms of replacement products. Everything, going into a restaurant, I could probably have one thing. So I know what I would have. I sit down, look at the menu, and go, I'm having that, because it's the only thing I could have. And even when I said, oh, can I have this without the chicken, or can I have this without the bacon, or whatever it was they gave me this look of
why?
What? That disgust? I'm like, is that too difficult? Okay, well, we'll do something else then. But as I've grown up...
Can I just have a glass of water?
Water, please. But as I've grown up over the years, I've noticed that more and more places I'm going out for dinner, I'm like, oh, I could have this, I could have this, and my options have completely opened up, because the idea of veganism, vegetarian and flexitarian have become on the rise, and it's now trendy
It is definitely trendy.
to be a vegan or to be a vegetarian. And it's really funny though, because so when I go to someone's house and they go, oh, I'm going to cook for you, I always have to say, oh, just let you know I'm a vegetarian. They go, oh, no worries. Now I've gone to somebody's house.
It's
and
okay.
It was my
I'll make lamb.
You find that funny, but actually, so they found out I was vegetarian. Like, oh, cool, we found out you're vegetarian, so we went out and got you some salmon. I'm like,
That is a fish, which is an animal.
okay, that's a fish. I said I was vegetarian, not pescatarian. I said, what's a pescatarian? So a pescatarian is somebody who doesn't eat red meat but will eat food and seafood, but they won't eat.
I thought pescatarians just eat seafood, like fish.
Yes, they won't eat bread. They'll eat like vegetables and things like that, but they won't eat in terms of meat products.
They won't eat meat products.
Yeah, they'll only eat the like seafood,
fish
and
Yeah.
seafood products.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously vegetarian, we don't eat any animal products in terms of physical body animal products. Whereas a vegan has nothing that's come from an animal they'll eat. Like anything that's come from an animal, they won't even touch. Whereas in vegetarians, it will be things like, so they'll still have eggs, milk, dairy, cheese, all that kind of stuff, whereas a vegan wouldn't. And I was like, and I felt really uncomfortable saying, oh, I actually don't eat. Because obviously they made the effort to go out and get me food, and I felt like that was so lovely, but I was like, oh, I just don't eat fish. She's like, but you're a vegetarian. I'm like, exactly. Like, and they had no clue. Like, my last friend was a vegetarian. They ate fish. Like, they weren't vegetarian. But I think because so many people now have become what I would call a flexitarian, which is like they will.
Sorry, she looked like she was falling off the back
she's
there.
good. But what will happen is they will. I've lost my train of thought now.
Sorry, I just
Distract me.
Looked like she was falling.
No, she's
It's
good.
my instinct just to catch.
To perceive.
Yeah.
To perceive. That wasn't it. We can cut all this out.
I don't
Anyway.
think so. Enjoy.
Anyway, but yes, I think more and more people are wanting to become vegetarian because they know it's healthy for the environment and for their bodies. So that's why I think why the trend's up, because of obviously the global warming we have and the economy we have. More and more people, and the reason veganism is on a upward
Rise.
trajectory. Thank you, couldn't think of the word. A rise is because it's better for the environment, it's better for their health. So much so, people are like, no, it's not. I actually have some studies. So a study showed that during COVID, there was a 9% increase in plant-based foods in the US. Now, 9% doesn't sound like a lot, but if you think of all the food, that's actually quite a heavy amount of plant-based products that are being sold and being bought. There was another study that showed in the UK, there was a 400% increase over 2 years from 2018 and 2019, where they estimated about 1.16 of the population being vegan, 14% being vegetarian. Now, that is considering how many people are in the UK, 14% of what was 1.5 billion in the UK? I don't know. Maybe.
I have no idea.
I don't know. But anyway, but that's still quite a high. But that's still quite a high population difference, being 14% and 1.6%. That's still quite a massive chunk of the population that are choosing not to eat any animal products. And even Australia, so there's roughly 10% of Australians have adopted plant-based diet. 10% of all Australians.
I think it's
Like,
I think the reason it's become more of a thing is because it's become far more accessible.
yes.
It's so much more accessible now. You know, you have meat alternatives. You've got vegan restaurants. You've got vegetarian dishes on menus in restaurants. You know, unless you're going to a restaurant that is
a steakhouse.
You know, a steakhouse. Obviously, they have options.
Yeah.
They do have options now. However, it's still a steakhouse. So I think because it's become so much more accessible, you know, as you've said, growing up, there wasn't really anything. There was one dish. And I know that as well because, of course, you pick it up, and especially having worked in hospitality, you also pick up what's on the menus and things like that. But now you can go into Coles, you can go into Woolworths, you can pick up your plant-based mince, which I was introduced to by Cora. Like you can get acai bowls, you can get, literally there are so many things that you can get now where the flavors, they've made them so beautiful, because that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Vegetarian, vegan food, just like a few years ago, was so bland.
So bland.
It's like nobody knew how to actually make it good. Whereas in Western society, because in, you know, if we're looking at
Eastern societies know how to make good food.
Yeah, they have that. There's so much of their food is vegetarian. So much of their food is, I don't know about vegan, but I know a lot of it is vegetarian, and the flavors they come up with is just incredible. So I would say it's Western civilization haven't known how to create good vegan food, good vegetarian food, whereas now, so people don't want to do it because it's so much harder. It doesn't taste good.
It's effort.
And if you haven't been raised that way, you know how good cheese tastes, or you know how good a steak tastes. And if you haven't been given a good alternative, people are going to be like, well, I'd much rather eat this because it tastes much better. Mm-hmm. You know, whereas now you can go out and you can actually buy these things and they taste good.
And I think that's the big one, is people, because there's so many plant-based alternatives, but are still in form of meat form, for example, like burger patties, corn mints, you know, these meatballs, all these things are now, which people would go, okay, spaghetti meatballs, I know how to make that, or lasagna, or all these different things that are normally with meat. Because there's now a vegetarian option, people are like, I can still cook the food I would normally cook, I'm just substituting out for basically a plant-based replacement over a meat one. And that's the big thing, is now because we've become more what's the word I'm looking for, more creative with the food that's on mainstream selling, like people who are just mainstream selling, going to the supermarket, going to Coles, going to Woolies, there is more vegetarian alternatives around, because people can still cook the things they would normally cook for their family, but they're just substituting the meat for the plant-based.
Exactly.
I mean, I actually remembered when I moved to England, we discovered there's a range of food called Quorn, Quorn, and it's all vegetarian, and it's meat-based products, but they've done it with a mushroom base, so it's still got the protein and the fiber of meat. It's just it is vegetarian. And my mum cooked a lasagna using this mince, and friends of ours from Australia came over and visited, and obviously they ate this, and they said, "Oh, so when did you guys start eating meat?" Well, we don't. It's like, you just fed us meat. No, it's Quorn. He could not tell that it wasn't meat. He's like, he said it tasted a little different, but he just thought, Mum, I'd done something with it. When he realized it was a vegetarian alternative, he's like, wow, I had no idea. Oh, that's it. I could make that, because he knows how to make a lasagna and he's just substituting it out. So that was the big thing. But it's really interesting, because I think there sometimes can be seen as a double standard.
Yes.
So like I said, going back to my earlier observations, when I go to someone's house, I always say, I'm vegetarian, and you know, I almost expect them to give me a vegetarian option, because if they don't, I can't eat. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I can't eat. I literally can't eat anything because there's no option here. But obviously, when people come to my house, obviously I don't cook them. I obviously cook vegetarian food, and people are saying, well, I have to cook a vegetarian option for you. Why can't you cook a meat option for me? There's a double standard here. And I had this discussion, which I want to have with you before I kind of go my point on it. Do you think that if you were coming to my house, you would almost expect me to, not expect, but I expect me to cook a vegetarian and a meat option because you're a meat eater? No. You just expect me to cook vegetarian for Lauren. Yeah. But when I come to you, you would choose to have a vegetarian option.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I understand the idea behind, oh, it's a double standard. Mm-hmm. I get it. I do. However, as a person who does eat meat, and unless you are on a strict pure meat diet, which I know one person, because he has health issues and he can only eat like 5 things, you eat vegetables. So, you know, unless, like, if you're going to someone's house and they are a vegetarian and you're going for dinner or you're going for cheese and crackers, like, you're not really going to miss anything. If anything, you might be introduced to something completely new.
Absolutely.
And I think it's like for me, it's just like going to a restaurant and trying something new. So I understand the idea behind it and why people might be a bit offended by it. But for me, I just go, well, we cook vegetables with whatever, hopefully, if you're having a well-balanced diet, you're hopefully having vegetables. and you're, you know, especially if you're going to someone's house who is a vegetarian, chances are they're going to cook you a good meal anyway, because that is what they eat. That is what they cook on the daily. I'd much rather eat that than have Cora cook me a piece of chicken.
Well, that's the thing.
Because she has no idea how to do it.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing. It's like, I could cook meat for you, but I've never cooked it.
I might kill you.
Kill you. If you undercook a vegetarian option, the chances of you killing me are slim to none. I might get a little sick, but it's slim to none. I probably won't die. If I cook meat for somebody and I undercook it or do anything with it or don't cook it properly, I will kill you.
Yeah, give you food poisoning.
So I think it's not a case of I'm not doing it because I'm thinking that my way is I'm feeling superior. And it's like, you got to eat my food and you got to cook for me. No, it's not that. It's I don't want to kill you. So
Self-preservation.
it's more I'm looking out for you.
I think the other thing though, just off that, is when we have the flip side of like when you come over to my place, again, first of all, I love to cook. So I'm always excited to try new things.
Yeah.
I also have, through Cora, like learnt some really cool vegetarian dishes that I absolutely love. And for me, again, if it's got good flavor, I really don't mind whether it's vegan, vegetarian. Like
food.
I just love food. But because that is like you are a vegetarian, I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, you're coming to a meat eater's house, because how uncomfortable would that feel? Like you know, if we have a cheese night, a cheese and wine night, I will literally make a beautiful cheese platter. And then if I feel like some cold meats, like some prosciutto or something, I'll put it on a small plate on the side. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. Cora doesn't mind it, you know, and that's the other thing.
That's the other thing is, I think the flip side for me is mine, because I'm not doing vegetarian because of the way animals are killed and treated and things like that. That's a whole another story, which I'm not even going to get into that debate. But I'm not really, I've been a vegetarian my whole life, so I just don't eat it. So if I'm out to dinner with somebody or go to someone's house and they want to have meat, I'm like, go for it. If that's your choice, you eat that and you enjoy it. I'm going to eat my veggies and I'm going to enjoy it. And that's totally fine. Where I draw the line and where I get very angry, not angry, but where I'm like, I cringe a little bit, is when people, and I've seen it before, and I've been around people who are like that, and they try and bond with me. I'm like, no, we don't have the same beliefs.
We're not the same.
Because they become so, like, they can't have meat anywhere in their sight, and if they do, they give you the biggest stink eye. It's like, you're not touching it. You don't have to worry. You have your views and values, and that's absolutely fine, and you fight for those, and you have a discussion with people, because people might not understand why you've chosen to go vegan or vegetarianism or pescatarian or whatever the reason is, and you can say to them, hey, look, I'm vegan because I think of this, and they could go, oh, that's really interesting. Okay, that's cool. Oh, that's nice. But if you belittle them and go, well, you're doing the wrong thing, I'm doing the right thing, then that's not fair. That's where I'm like, no, that's not fair. That's where I draw the line. So I think for me, I think that's where the people who think there's a double standard there is probably people who have dealt with vegetarians and vegans who are like, you can't have meat anywhere in my sight. That's a different story.
Yeah.
But I think, like I said, going back, because it's such a massive rise, this is a question for you, and if you have opinion on it, please leave a comment.
Yes, absolutely.
In the below section.
Below this video, if you're watching on YouTube, and
leave a comment.
Send us a DM or something.
But do you think being a vegan and veggie will soon become the norm? Because at the moment being a meat is a norm. But do you think it's going to be more vegan and vegetarian will be the norm now?
I think moving forward, I definitely think it will move very heavily into a half and half. I don't think it's going to overtake it straight away. I think we're quite a number of years away from that. I do see it as something that will become more widespread. Again, we're finding new ways of creating food, new ways of, having this basically access to this different kind of food. And I think, yes, that it will become more a norm. I don't necessarily think it's going to overtake it for quite a number of years, but I do think that it's already starting to become more of a like balanced, like it's balancing itself out. Like it doesn't really matter if you're vegan or vegetarian or whatever, because the options are becoming bigger, as I said earlier. So I do see it moving down the track. Yes, I do think it's going to become more widespread.
I think for me, I think it's what's going to happen is people aren't automatically going to assume that you're a meat eater. I think when you go to someone who's, "Oh, come around for dinner," people back in the day, when people used to say it to me, "Oh, come around to our house for dinner," would automatically assume you're a meat eater unless you said, "Oh, by the way, I'm a vegetarian." Whereas then now I've noticed when I go to someone's house, they'll be like, "Oh, is there anything that you don't eat? Are you vegan, vegetarian?" And they're asking me. So they're not assuming that I'm a meat eater. They're asking, what am I? What do I eat? And I think that's going to become the new norm now, where people aren't going to automatically go, "Okay, you're a meat eater, sorry," and be shocked and surprised when you go, "No, I'm vegetarian," or "No, I'm vegan." Like, "Oh, really? Wow!" Like that will soon disappear, and it will be like, "Oh, cool. I'll cook some vegetarian food." Or,
do you have any tips?
I think that's the big one. Is people? I think I know a lot of. I've had it. So my ex, became vegetarian. He had many reasons to be vegetarian way before he dated me, but he only became vegetarian when he dated me because I was cooking all the food. I was cooking vegetarian food, so he was like, "Okay, well, it's fine." But he didn't know really what to cook.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, I think, for people who out there who eat meat, it's like, what do I cook? And I've had it before. I work with a guy who literally came in, because me and my other colleague are both vegetarian. He's like, "So what do you eat?" It's like, "Well, like, did you just eat vegetables?" I'm like, "Well, no." And like, you eat lots of different things. And I've explained, like, you know, my go-to one that I absolutely love doing is like roasting a whole bunch of vegetables. Literally. So like get
It's
like beetroot, get, you know, zucchini, capsicum, red pepper, like everything, just like basically chop it all up, zucchini, put it in, put it in the oven, salt, pepper, paprika, any sort of seasoning you want in there, roast it through, put it in the oven, let it roast, and then you could put like some quinoa or some giant couscous or something to go with it, with maybe some nuts in there to kind of bulk it out, and then make like a creamy pesto sauce, halloumi, make a creamy pesto sauce, and kind of mix that all together with spinach. And that's kind of my go-to. Like I have that a lot as like a big salad. It's so filling.
It's so good.
So filling. And it's so tasty because you have the paprika, you have the honey glazed halloumi in there, you have I just realized, you have the pesto dressing in there. We should have eaten before we done this because I'm making myself very hungry.
Yeah, I know. I'm listening. I'm like, yeah, my mouth is watering.
But yeah, and that's, I think, you know, that, and you can make some incredible. I've like made dals, like beautiful dals and things like that are all vegetarian, and people are like, "God, this is so good," and it's vegetarian. I'm like, yeah. And I think people are shocked when they hear, because it's in the past, vegetarian has always been so bland, to now hear things like you can have other things than salad and vegetables, and like put it with lentils and like, you know, seeds and like
there's just so many. There's just so many options now. I think, and that's the exciting thing. Like, as I say very often, I love food. Like, I don't mind if it's vegan. I don't mind if it's vegetarian. As long as you're not trying to shove your beliefs down my throat, I really don't mind. I'm happy to sit and eat whatever you prepare. Me not liking something is something completely different, because of course, just like anybody, there are foods that we just don't like or we cannot have, you know, dietary requirements, health issues, whatever those things
allergic
may be.
To celiac,
exactly. Like, so if I'm going to sit down and someone's going to hand me a bowl of porridge, I will look at them and be like, "Thank you very much, but I will not have that because I am allergic to oats." So like, you know, don't make me eat something that's going to make me sick. But apart from that,
we're all good.
I'll give anything a try. If I really don't like it, I won't eat it. Like, you know, so I think, the options have become so broad, and it's exciting now. You don't feel like it's a big...
I think more people are becoming adventurous with food as well.
Exactly.
And go, "Oh, I'll give this a try." Going to a new restaurant, "Oh, I'll give this," you know, fusion food is becoming a thing. But, "Oh, I'll give this a try." But also, now this is going to be an interesting question to pose to you. Do you think that another reason why the vegan vegetarianism is on the rise is, do you think people are becoming more choosy with food, or do you think it's people are more aware of what their diet and what their body is, or do you think it's the influence, because we're in like kind of an influencer culture with social
very much
media,
so.
do you think it's influencers are influencing what we're eating?
I think it's all of the above.
Okay.
I do. I think people are becoming more aware. I think it kind of ties into each other because you have a lot of influencers out there. They choose their diet and they share their diet, and then all of their followers will try that diet.
Yeah.
I think that, which is positive and negative in my opinion, because I think people can do some damage to themselves if they don't do their own research. But I do think that because of influencers, we are becoming more aware, simply because we are, as you said, in this influencer culture, that we are becoming more aware. We do know what's happening. You know, I don't like preaching about it, but if you're genuinely sharing your information, you're going, hey, this is what I found, this is what makes me feel really good, give it a go, check with your physician first if it works for you. But I think we are becoming more choosy with our food, simply, again, because the options are there. We have the option to be choosy. Be choosy. But I also think that we now live in a world where fad diets are very much
on the high,
which I don't like, I don't agree with. So I think it is all of the above. I think, people are they have more access to information. They have all this stuff that's coming in, so they can make up their own minds. But I also think there's a lot of fad diets and everyone's doing something, and then it's like, oh, I'll try this, and oh, I'll try that, and oh, I'll try this, and it's like, that's actually not that good for your body. It is if you're jumping from thing to thing to
Absolutely.
thing.
And I think also like, on that, like, the paleo people are going, paleo diet, and they're
keto diet.
Keto diet.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's great for different people. Like, but because I'm already a vegetarian, so I have obviously a low iron count anyway. So I have to make sure I eat food that is going to give me iron, because I'm not eating any red meat. So I have to be very careful with what I eat. So I do talk to my doctor. I get injections. I don't get injections. I get my blood checked every year to see how my iron is and my iron balance. Sometimes I have to take iron supplements. So I think that type of stuff people forget about what's actually good for them, because they see it working for these other people, but every person's different, everybody's body is different. So if you are, as we kind of draw this episode to a close, if you are kind of considering, or you are vegetarian or vegan or whatever you are, first of all, educate people around you. So if someone's like, I want to be vegetarian, vegan, really tell them what that means. Really explain to them. Because I think also people who are like vegan, they're like, you're vegetarian, but you wear leather jackets. It's like, again, I'm just being vegan, vegetarian in my diet, not in my lifestyle. People become vegan in their lifestyle. That's great for you, and that's something you can go with, because it's not easy. So I think if you are considering it, check with your doctor, find out what you can do and if it's healthy for you. And because if you lose a meat category, if you lose a food group, you've got to replace it with another one to get the right food in there. So like I said, I don't eat red meat, but I eat a lot of nuts, I eat a lot of beans, I eat a lot of lentils. So you've got to make sure you balance it out again.
Totally.
So so check with your doctor for starters, but also give it a try. I think a lot of people I've heard being vegetarian for to give it a go and see if they can do it. That's great too. I always find it really weird flexitarians who are like, oh, I'm a vegetarian Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I eat meat. That's just, I just call that a fussy eater.
Yeah.
I just call that a fussy eater in my opinion. Flexitarian, you're a fussy eater. But, give it a go, give it a try, because there are some amazing foods out there. If you are vegetarian and you're like, what's this corn supplement you're talking about? It is available in Coles and Woolworths. Check it out. It is great. It's if you have been a meat eater and then you can become vegetarian, it's a great way for you to kind of still have the foods that you love, but we're just a vegetarian option.
Yeah, I think that's a great point to end on. If you're curious, give it a go.
Yeah.
It's fun. Just have a play with it. And if you are doing it just to see, do it as an experiment. Be like, oh, I wonder what my body will feel like if I don't do this for a little while. And give it a go. Come from that mentality.
Try everything.
Just exactly, give it a go. Don't again, as we've said in the past with self-discipline episode, don't chastise yourself if it doesn't work for you. Like, that's okay as well. You know, there is so much food available to us that we each get to decide what makes our body feel great, what makes our body function at the highest it can.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, give it a go.
Give it a try.
Give it a try and
probably-
see what you come up with.
I think also a lot of people will be surprised at how adventurous you can be with food and how creative you can be with food, because you've got to be creative with it. But also, going back a little bit just before we end, is if you are a meat eater and you're around vegetarians, I get it all the time, and I just want to make this note. Don't force them and think they're weird that they don't eat meat. Because I get that I've got that so many times. We just like to do differently, and vice versa. If you're vegan, don't force opinions on other people as well. So be careful with your food and stuff. Okay, guys. Well, hope you like our little debate and
Opinions on the matter of food.
on vegetarian and vegan food. I think it's because it's such a big part of my life, and it's always been there. It's a conversation that I've guarantee had with every single person that comes into my life. It is a conversation I have to have with them, especially when you go on dates.
Yeah,
like
of course.
I've obviously been dating, so I have to be like to people, oh, by the way, I am vegetarian. Or I won't say that, and I'll go onto the menu online to check to see what I can have.
It's like,
and then
are
go,
there options?
yes, we can go there. I mean, a guy had as well, oh, should we go steakhouse? Like, not really, no. He's like, why? I'm like, I'm vegetarian. Very awkward. He's like, oh, okay then. Well, and he was so funny. You could tell he was a real meeting because he's like,
What
where
else
do you
do
want
we
to go?
do?
He had no idea where to go. I'm like, okay, we can do Italian. He's like, oh, I can do that. It was so funny. Anyway, sorry, kind of rambled a little bit here. But everyone, thank you for watching.
Yes,
if
thank you.
You're watching on YouTube, do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any episodes, and give this video a like.
If you are listening
Thank
on
you.
any of our other channels like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, please leave us a review. Make sure you do hit follow. And of course, make sure you are following us on all of our social medias, our Instagram, our TikTok, and our Facebook at Same Here Me Too for any updates.
And don't forget to send us any DMs of any questions you have for us.
Correct.
We always reply to every single DM that comes through. So give us a question.
Absolutely.
And if you want us to discuss anything that you'd like, hey, that's a really interesting
What's
option.
your opinion on
What's
this?
your opinion on this? Let us know, and we will definitely do that.
Absolutely.
Also, watch this space. We've got a few little other segments coming up for you guys. So look out for those sneaky little bonus episodes.
Very exciting.
Dun, dun,
Oh,
dun,
and
dun,
also one last thing. If you want any cool vegetarian recipes, drop us a DM and Cora will put one up.
I love that. Drop us a DM and she'll put it up. But I will.
She will.
If you want me
Yeah.
to do I'm happy to do like a live or something on Instagram live of me cooking
yeah.
food one day, and you guys can see what type of thing I'm cooking. And I'm very much the case of I'll throw things into a pan and just see
She
what
does.
comes out. I don't really
does.
like to follow a menu.
Recipe.
That one. Sorry. Yeah, but I'm more than happy to do that. Actually, we should do that. Let's
should
do it.
do
We
that.
should do it anyway. We'll do it
All right.
anyway. We'll let you
All
know.
right. Well,
Follow.
that's it from us.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.